What's up, guys? I'm John.
My name is Chris.
And we are the Heck, and today we're going to be checking out the freaking skip content of episode 2 of freaking Solo Leveling. Yeah, we've rehearsed that quite a few times. But anyways, man, I think it's cool. We have missed a few of the skip content things. We've skipped over a few of the skipped content things. But we're going to be going back and checking them out. We really just wanted to get caught up. I was gone recently, and we got caught up on all the episodes. But now we get to go back and kind of check out the skip content as well.
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be a lot.
Yeah, dude. And a big reason I wanted to check this one out is because there's so many questions I have from this episode. We were just going to go back and do maybe the last 2 episodes or something. But I feel like it works. This is a really important episode, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So in saying all that, if you guys are new to our channel, smash that sub button and let's check it out together. And if y'all want to support our channel, there's a link to our Patreon in the description below. Ha-boom! It worked first time, dude. Ha-pow!
This was pretty cool. Scenes like this are actually anime original, and I'm 100% here for all of it. Just like how it was with episode 1, though, a lot of the finer details focusing on the people around Sung couldn't make it due to how much they need to cover this season. There was also a bit more to Sung's life in the Red Gate, so if you want to see just how much he leveled up, along with what you may have missed from his boss fight against Baruka, that's exactly what we're going to talk about this video.
Oh, nice! We're going to see how much he leveled up here.
The
Oh,
anime,
heck yeah.
the manhwa, and the novel. Let's get started.
I love that he
Episode
covers all
14,
this.
I suppose you aren't aware. Covering chapters 53 to 55 from the manhwa and chapters 63 to 66 from the web novel. To start things from the very beginning of the Red Gate incident, I want to focus on who Sung was with first. Reason being that, as new recruits from the White Tiger Guild, this was actually their very first time doing a dungeon raid. How
Wow.
then were they so composed when plunged into the Red Gate? Well, that's because they were taught that anything could happen. Each and every one of them had already gone through extensive training outside the gates.
Oh, nice.
That being the case, the fact this was their first raid didn't mean that they were ill-prepared. It just meant they were inexperienced.
Yeah.
As soon as this gate was completed, all of them were set to start doing high-rank dungeons. It essentially made this nothing more than a practice run for the 12 of them. There being 12 was actually one of the differences the anime didn't show us, since here we saw that they only had 8 hunters. The full strike squad consisted of 1 A rank, 7 B ranks, and 4 C ranks. Completely overkill for what a C rank gate normally required, but made sense since this was, after all, practice. Now, an interesting property which made this gate visibly different from the outside was the strange viscous nature with which it absorbed people. Normally the surface was supposed to return to being solid as soon as someone entered, but for some reason this one kept rippling like a liquid. It even clung to Sung's hand like glue the moment he touched it.
Do you think that like all these gates are starting to glitch out because Sung is going in there?
I mean, there's a possibility.
I mean, right? I don't know, man, because it's kind of a little odd to me that we've got a red gate and then also the last one there's something weird happening.
Yeah.
So like, you know what I mean? It's him. Dude.
Something. Yeah.
He's
every
common
time
denominator.
it's like we talked about in one of the episodes. Like every time he goes into a gate, it seems like something goes wrong or something goes weird.
Yeah, dude. It's like you got like a girlfriend that's like, oh yeah, I don't know why I'm attracting all these like things. It's like there's a common denominator.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Maybe it's him.
Resulting in its
I think it's
ability
him.
to swallow him whole. So the gate would
But
turn
then
red
again,
and
he
the
went
White
through
Tiger
those
Guild
other
would
ones
call
with
back, leading to
Jinwoo,
that whole
and
outburst
nothing
where
happened.
he would express his anger
Yeah, that's
towards the
weird too.
association.
Damn.
It
All
didn't
right.
really matter that they got the reading wrong now, though, since whether it was initially C, B, or A ranked, the fact the gate was red now trumped all of that. Besides, they couldn't even remeasure the gate if they wanted to, since red gates had the distinct property of leaking 0 magical energy. It's
so
just
crazy.
that Beck knew from personal experience red gates were incredibly dangerous, so much so that he was ready to count all those who were trapped as KIA. A new character had actually arrived right after Beck to dissuade that notion,
Dude's
basically
like,
saying
Mr.
how Kim Jewel
Anderson.
was the
Yeah.
one to go through for them. The reason this man was so invested in Kim was because he was the chief of the White Tiger Guild's first division, the team responsible for prepping those who would be on the main strike force. Training was usually handled by On's second division, but any hunters ranked A or higher were always handled by Sung Chan's first division. It was mandatory for them to go through a more specialized and intense training regimen.
I want to see him in action.
Because Sung Chan knew firsthand just how capable Kim Chul was, He truly believed he wouldn't fall behind any of the White Tiger Guild's main hunters, let alone a measly E-rank unsuspected reawakened. This was its own little conflict outside the gate, essentially showing the competition between the White Tiger Guild's 1st Division and 2nd Division. On didn't seem all too
everybody's
into it,
competing.
but it seems
For real,
1st
though.
Division is always trying to show up 2nd Division.
Is that what all this is for?
Beck had actually gone on to explain why it is red gates are always so fatal for hunters. First, you never know where you're gonna end up, so you could be teleported anywhere from a scorching desert with 60 degrees Celsius temperatures, all the way to a poison-filled jungle or snow-covered wasteland.
So it's hard to prepare.
This makes preparing
Yeah.
impossible, since unless you bring equipment ready for everywhere, you're probably gonna be caught off guard in at least one way or the other.
I feel like if you go there prepared for the cold, you could just strip down. But if you go there prepared for the scorching heat, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I'd just go naked if it was in the desert, you know, and I went there for like the heat, the cool or whatever.
Be roasted in an hour, probably, though.
It is a literal burnt hot dog down there. What is happening?
It was a challenging feat that only the truly
I'd be
strong
roasted
could
in 10
possibly
minutes.
pull from.
Yeah.
All that was just the bare minimum, though, since even after acclimating and surviving, you still had to find a way to procure food and water. Sure, you could enter with enough food to last for weeks, but with red gates lasting up to several months, eventually you would need to provide for yourself.
They looked out
The
with
only
bear
truly
and not
helpful
like
tool to help you get through this
fucking
was your magic
goblins
energy
or something.
compass
Yeah.
leading you to the boss. With this pointing you in the direction of the most powerful source of magical energy, it would eventually get you to the boss.
Oh, nice.
It's
That's
just
cool.
you might be following it for weeks or months. So, with unforgiving surroundings, constant hunger, and the looming presence of monsters, the Red Gate truly was one of the most challenging endeavors a hunter could go through. It was totally justifiable for Beck to think that no one would make it.
Dang.
Now, before we get to what was happening inside the gate, the last thing I want to mention from outside was a couple details related to Huang Dong-su. He actually wasn't here at all in the novels, but in the manhwa he had found
really?
Sung by tracking his records with the association. He then immediately sniffed out that An was covering up for him, not because he knew that An was good at scouting, but rather because he just had a solid intuition on when something fun was happening.
Oh, dang.
Consider it a personal sixth sense of his. To finally get to what was happening inside the gate, I suppose the best place to start is with this. Sung really
is
didn't
awesome.
like the cheap tactic the Ice Elves opened with, leading him to hold a personal grudge against the ones who tried it.
Oh, damn.
Okay.
It's
I can
actually
see
why he
that.
snapped the arrow right in front of them. He wanted them to know that he was pissed.
Like stealth tactics, kind of.
That reminds me of Neo, the game. And I'm like, yeah, Neo. Yeah.
Path of Neo or whatever it is.
Yeah, Neo 1 and 2 or whatever. I'd be like,
Oh, Neo. Like
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were talking about like the Matrix.
oh, no. The game. I freaking,
Okay.
dude, there's so many cheap little cheesy freaking, like little guys ready to freaking pounce on you at any
dude,
given moment.
especially in the first game.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Like you would get grabbed or hit and you would fall off the bridge and die instantly. Like
They
full
just
health.
cheese you constantly in
Yeah.
that game. So I can totally see why he's so pissed.
Of course, the two elves only saw this as a challenge,
me face
leading
to
them to make
face.
that
Yeah.
motion in return directed right towards Sung. I know that's not really all that different from what we saw in the anime, but it does highlight the more aggressive Sung the novel version of him is known to be.
That's really cool.
He definitely flexes more here than he does in the manhwa or anime. Now, when Kim went on to enact his plan, he was so intent on clearing the gate that he was actually ready to do so by himself if need be. The way he spoke was so assuringly confident, though, that wasn't a problem he would have
His
to worry
armor
about.
is
I know,
massive.
dude.
There was a bit more back and forth between him and the lower hunters, eventually resulting in him calling them baggage. This wasn't
Damn.
an insult they were very happy with, but the moment Kim glared in their general direction, they immediately backed down since, well, what else could they do?
Right?
The groups would
It's like
then
the
split into
juggernaut over
ones we
there.
saw, giving Sung the opportunity to get to know the White Tiger hunters better. It's here he'd learn why it was they weren't very afraid, but that confidence was something he knew would disappear quickly. Reason being that Sung knew firsthand no amount of training could prepare them for the life and death situations awaiting
I
them.
love seeing
To
old
know
Sung,
something
dude. He was
so
like,
different from
good God.
experiencing it. All these
Yeah,
hunters
true.
were doing were simply showing off, not realizing just how terrifying the gate truly was. As soon as they see what's exactly at stake,
Damn,
Sung
dude.
knew their false confidence would come crashing down on top of them.
Yeah.
I mean, for the many years it took to build that confidence up, A single moment was all it took to break it down.
Damn.
Such was the unfortunate fate awaiting these rookies. Heejin would then get to know Sung a bit herself, basically probing to find out why it is she felt so confident in him. Though he never answered her questions, his true confidence combined with what she believed she saw him do made her all but certain he was strong. She had barely pieced together the way that Sung had moved here, but her experience as a top athlete and her awakening into a melee hunter made her confident in her dynamic vision. It all served to reinforce her assumptions even more. Now, for more context on why Sung felt more confident in the forest, well, the fact the elves were wearing pelts made from bears made it clear the bears were weaker than the elves.
Ah, okay.
Part of the danger of a dungeon was not knowing what would pop out when, so to remove that element of uncertainty was actually a huge advantage. The coats and boots only cost 10 gold each, so out of the 430,000 he had earned up to this point, the items he bought here pretty much cost him nothing.
That's awesome.
Unlike items
Heck yeah.
with special effects added to them, regular items like these didn't cost a lot at all. So Sung would prep his group and kill the bear, then gain a level up and become the group's leader. It was an immediate suggestion since this was the moment Heejin knew that she made the right call after all. Now she just feared that Sung might leave and do his own thing, so rather than wait for that to happen, she quickly suggested that Sung become their leader officially.
Become a leader!
It was a role Sung figured would make things easiest for him. 3 days would then pass with the weak hunters living it up, all while Sung would hunt
that
bears
seems like a
he had
vacation.
some sort of vendetta against them. The way his eyes lit up every time he saw them truly was terrifying for those who got to witness it. It definitely made people curious about what his true rank was.
I love that
out of fear
scene.
Of being kicked out of the only safe haven here, the group decided not to talk about it further. So, in this first instance where Sung had come across what he could only describe as a bear farm, his shadow army got to show us why they were at least better than a pack of beasts. Whereas beasts fought mindlessly, Sung's army not only had the ability to regenerate, but also cooperated in a way that made them a pretty cohesive unit.
They're very tactical together.
The mages could bombard the whole battlefield with
like
magic,
all the mages standing in a line like that.
That was cool. Regenerate and get right back in there. This was what gave them the advantage, since the weakened bears could no longer defend against the unrelenting onslaught of the soldiers. In the end, it increased their levels from 1 to either 2 or 3. Their work had also raised Sung's own level by 3 as well. More bears could then
That's
be
so cool
heard
that
in
he
the
gets leveled
distance,
up from them
which, as you'd
too.
expect, made Sung smile knowing he'd be able to get to them tomorrow.
Damn.
To switch things over to Kim Chul's side of the story now, it wasn't just the ice elves which had caused his defeat here. First, they had fought and beat snowmen. Then they lost 2 in a subsequent fight against some ice yetis, after which the ice elves would pounce to get the jump on them. They were sneakily waiting for Kim's team to exhaust themselves before launching their own attack.
That's cool.
In an instant, all the hunters except Kim were dead, leaving him to witness the barbaric nature of who he was up against. The elves had gone so far as to taunt Kim with the decapitated head of his comrade.
Oh, damn!
It was the action which spurred him to run away in terror. It didn't matter that he was running into ice bear territory, since compared to the snowmen, yetis, and ice elves, they were very much the least of his worries.
Do we ever see the yetis?
I don't think so.
I don't think we did either, dude. Yeah.
Another 2 days
freaking
would
yetis
pass
would have been
with
way
Sung
cool.
still farming bears, clearing a few more farms worth to the point that they were nearing extinction. At least him and his shadows got to level up from them, so much so that where before his shadows would need to fight 2-on-1 to win, now they could pull off a victory 1-on-1.
Oh, dang.
His increased proficiency leveled up his shadow storage limit to a max of 30 now.
Oh, damn.
It was at this point that Sung felt he should hunt the boss, since with no more bears to farm levels from and a dungeon break still several months out, there wasn't much value in sticking around anymore.
I love they stuck there just to kill all the bears.
That's freaking wild.
Them off back here. Though 5 days had passed, Sung still hated how it mocked him and the other hunters. Now, in the meantime, Kim was completely starved, surviving only off a measly rabbit ever since he'd stepped foot here.
Could you imagine being him and then stumbling across the camp of rookies and you're like, oh, you guys suck. And then they're just like chilling out, eating bear in fur coats, just looking like they're on a vacation.
Yeah. I mean, it's his own fault, though. He's the one that freaking was like, y'all stay here.
Yeah.
Y'all are on your own. Whatever. Yeah.
Also, something I'm really curious about, too. So, like, in this episode, it's showing, like, there was a couple of places where I guess his shadow army, like, they died and then they regenerated, and everybody's been like, they don't cost mana to just be. but to regenerate them or bring them up, it costs mana.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like, at what rate he recovers his mana, or if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I don't think we've ever really talked about it.
I don't think so either. That's a good question. Like, how much he gets, like, what's the recovery rate per second or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know, but I'm curious about
That's why
that
he was
one.
able to pick up the scent of
Or if it
food
even
so
recovers
easily,
in
and
combat.
It's also why
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
so
it
quick
might
to
be
act.
the thing that you can't
At
do
this
that.
point, he was essentially ravenous. In fact, even if the food he smelled was coming from a camp of ice elves, his hunger made him believe that he could subdue them and get away
Oh
with it.
dang!
Kim was so hungry
want
that
that
he
meat
couldn't
so
even make
bad.
simple
Gotta get that
rational
meat.
decisions anymore. That's when he would find the hunters, lash out at what he believed to be betrayal, then get slapped so hard that Sung's hand would start steaming from the impact.
Oh,
Sung's hand
Their
started.
entrance, revealing the boss whose aura was way stronger than all the others.
Okay,
It was so oppressive that Sung couldn't help but get goosebumps from it.
nice.
The rest were grunts he knew he could easily take care of, mainly because his recent level grind made him that much stronger. Now,
I can't
this
get over it.
particular elf was
Stung
actually the one
Sung's
Sung
hand.
had it
That's
out
so
for,
funny.
so rather than dash towards him and take his head himself, he instead just threw his dagger at a speed it couldn't even react to. It was a kill I'm sure Sung was extremely satisfied with.
Yeah.
This brings us to the interesting conversation Sung had shared with Baruka, which, though filled with hints that should have got Sung thinking, didn't really trigger any thoughts at all.
Yeah.
He chalked up the not human comment as him just being a player, while the stutter and lack of reaction to it made it clear probing for information was useless. It was no doubt some bona fide NPC behavior, but that didn't matter to Sung at all. No. The only thing that did was being able to turn Baruka into a shadow soldier.
Right.
That's
This was
the only thing that he was thinking
since
of.
Baruka
I
made
want
his
him as a
entrance,
minion.
And it's probably why he didn't think too deeply about anything else. Sung just wanted a new soldier and the cool-looking daggers he possessed.
I
Of
love
course,
his
Sung
one-track
knew
mind.
He couldn't beat Baruka alone, so what he needed to find was another strong ally. This leads to a fake out with Kim, since the way Sung kicks his sword towards him like he's seeking his help makes it seem like he's doing so in order to team up with him. Obviously that wasn't the case, but as the reader we don't yet suspect that Sung is baiting Kim into becoming a shadow soldier himself.
You think
So,
he's baiting
while
him
Sung
into
was
it?
getting cut and sliced in his fight with Baruka, Kim finally woke up to find his sword next to him.
Okay.
This
I
was
see.
incredibly lucky for both of them because Sung knew he wouldn't be able to last much longer, and Kim saw his opportunity for revenge. In the manhwa, Kim got skewered like this, then there was another cool panel where we see Sung casting a rise in the shadow of Igris's case. Though the anime didn't show it, it was while Sung was busy doing so that Igris went on to distract Baruka. This was a good way to show just how strong Baruka was, since Igris barely served as a challenge to him.
That is
It
wild.
didn't take long for Baruka to slice right through him. In fact, the only reason Igris wasn't defeated completely was because he was able to rely heavily on his regeneration abilities. Now,
Wow.
Sung's choice of name for iron was because Chul in Korean meant iron. His Grade of a Shadow was the same as Igris's at Night Grade, then though his towering stature made keeping up with agile opponents difficult, his innate aggro skill Shadow Provocation made such a limitation unimportant. Iron instead
Shadow
made his opponents
Provocation?
come to him.
Taunt.
This too
Yeah.
saved Igris from being defeated completely, since the moment Baruka was about to land the finishing blow, Shadow Provocation immediately switched his focus from Igris to him.
That's awesome.
Reinforcement was another skill allowing
He's like the
Iron to tank
golem
all of Baruka's
in,
attacks,
Diablo.
creating time for Sung and Igris to join the battle together.
Damn, 3-on-1,
At
you're
first, there
screwed.
wasn't much all three could do, but with each subsequent hit they managed to land, these small cuts and bruises started to reduce Baruka's agility ever so slowly. It wasn't long before Baruka's smile was gone, and with each dodge reducing his
dang.
already depleted stamina, it was only a matter of time before he was finished, just like how we saw in the anime.
I love that he
In
can
the
do
end,
that.
the
It's
entire
like the
fight
war of
had
attrition
earned
kind of
Sung
there.
2 whole levels. For Miss
Dang.
Park, who was watching the fight, she was most worried about how she was going to explain all this. She seemed to be on the side of keeping Sung's secrets, so that was a message she was trying to convey to the others.
That's cool.
Like, just the fact they were even able to think about what they were going to do outside the gate, well, that was only possible because of him. Her
Very
own
true.
personal feelings were now far beyond that of shock or gratefulness, and were now simply at a stage of awe. It's an important feeling to understand since it'll come up again in some cutscenes I'm sure will be involving her next episode.
Whoa.
The last thing I want to talk about in this episode
I love that scene
is
so
the
much.
minor spat between Sung and Beck after the gate. The main reason why Beck had backed off at all was because Sung's message was actually pretty valid, and the immense pressure he applied along with it made it clear he wasn't to be messed with right now. This was enough for Beck to become invested in Sung, since not just anyone could stand up to him the way that Sung just
especially after that
Not
gate.
only that, but
Right.
Beck could tell from Sung's powerful aura that if the two were to fight right here and now, he would need to be ready to lose an arm or worse.
Oh shit!
That's just how strong Sung had become after the Red Gate.
Dang!
So, given that this was the impression Beck got from Sung, Beck was ready to give On literally every resource to acquire him.
Wow.
It didn't matter how much money it would take. Beck wanted Sung in the White Tiger Guild
I mean, he
now.
did, bring him out of the
But
Red
yeah,
Gate, so
That's pretty much it for this
I feel like
episode.
that's a massive
Sung's new
feat.
dagger buffed his stats by this, and it's great of A.
Oh, he got the dagger?
I know, right? Daggers weren't used by him. Attacked by 110? Holy shit! My god, greater agility, but the attack is 110, dude.
Reduces the weight of the wielder. That's really cool.
That's wild, man.
Imagine picking up something and you feel lighter.
Yeah. Good god, dude. Attack plus 110, though. It's like, what in the hell,
made it
man?
perfect to replace Kasuka's Fang, which was becoming less and less effective lately.
Yeah, the poison
And
dagger.
the car scene does in fact happen in the manhwa too. Anyway, if you liked what you saw and want to see more,
Dude, AniNews is god tier. Okay, can we just give it up? AniNews,
Yeah.
you freaking boss. That was freaking awesome. Thank you very much for doing that and covering all that stuff. We're definitely going to be checking out 3, 4, and 5, and then from there on, because I love the fact that he's covering the manga, the web novel,
yeah.
and then the anime. But I'm really curious, in y'all's opinion, do we have a definitive canon thing? And is that the anime? Or is that the manga? Is that the web novel? What do you guys think is absolute canon? Because it looks like even the web novel and the manga differ a little bit. And I don't know which one of those two would be our definitive, this is the word of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it's kind of like a combination, I guess.
Yeah.
of things.
AniNews, whatever he tells us, he is the prophet of solo leveling. Yeah. But I don't know, man. I'm really curious. What do you guys think? What are y'all's opinion on it? Because for me, it's I do feel like there's obviously another layer. Where I kind of differ in there is characters that weren't there in the manga, but are there in the anime, or their characters. You know what I mean? Did we miss something because they didn't have enough time to put it in the anime, or is it completely just new to the anime? Because in that way, I feel like the anime might be kind of like our this is canon, you know?
I mean, for us, the anime is canon.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we don't know anything else, really.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, if so, for instance, if the anime comes up with a whole new character or something like that and puts them in there, but then there's some backstory that we didn't get in the anime because they didn't have enough time, and the manga covered it, and then we can find out that extra, why did this happen or what conversations happen outside of it, then, in that case, then I feel like that's cool, but I feel like still the anime would be this is the overall, this is the story. Maybe there's some extra stuff.
yeah.
But I think the thing that threw me off was the extra guy coming in that looked like freaking dude from the Matrix. That guy coming in, he was in the web novel, but not in the manga. And he also wasn't even in the anime. So it's
yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. But y'all's opinion on that, please let us know what you think. We're also going to be checking out the backstory, the things you missed from episode 3, 4, and 5. And then just moving forward, probably each week we'll be going through those and checking them out as well too. Because it's freaking interesting, dude.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff happening.
I love getting to kind of go through the episodes in greater detail as well. With stuff that we didn't know. It adds more to look when you look back on it.
Yeah. I didn't
you
actually even know you got that dagger.
Dude, I didn't either.
Yeah, that was freaking cool. But dude, either way, y'all have a blessed one. If you need anything at all, message us and we will catch y'all later. Freaking toodles.
Later.
Bye.